My name is Dave Woolley-Wilson, and I'm here to talk to you about the worst day of my life.
My name's Dave Woolley-Wilson, and I'm one of the lucky survivors thanks to an amazing set of circumstances, starting with my wife, the 911 operators, the EMTs, and amazing doctors. And here's my story.
And on that morning, I got in the shower, as I normally do, and I heard something. So I decided to get out of the shower and look for him. And as I was walking down the hallway, I saw to the left my husband, Dave, collapsed on the floor in our office. And I went over to him, he wasn't breathing, and I jumped up. Actually, Sonny was in there, that's where Sonny was, and he was licking Dave's face, trying to bring him back. He was kind of the first responder, we like to say. So I got up, I went into the kitchen where my cell phone was being recharged, and called 911. And on the way back, while I was on the phone with 911, I unlocked the front door. I have no idea why I did that. And I went back into the office, and I had the good fortune of meeting Courtney McDaniel. And she was my 911 dispatcher.
911 emergency.
Yes, I have somebody who collapsed.
Okay, what is the address?
I had only been released about 1 to 2 weeks before the call came in that the patient was found unconscious, not breathing in the kitchen. We quickly established the need for telephone CPR and got him on his back on the floor.
I explained the situation to her. I said, he's not breathing. I think he might have had a heart attack, and I don't know CPR. And she basically said, I'm here to help you. She asked me a lot of questions. Right now, I don't remember what she asked me.
The caller was hesitant at first. She continued to ask for paramedics for us to arrive as soon as possible. And I quickly told her that this is what her husband needed. This is what he needed to survive. And she started chest compressions, one hand on top of the other, pushing as hard as she can. We kept that oxygenated blood flowing throughout his body to his brain while the paramedics and the EMTs started to arrive.
I remember starting compressions, and I remember stopping and saying, Courtney, he's not breathing. When do I stop compressions to breathe? She said, you don't need to help him breathe. You just need to get that oxygenated blood to his brain. And I said, but he's not breathing at all, you know, stressing my point. And she basically told me, I don't know exactly what she said, but she said I needed to listen to her and to do exactly what she said if I wanted to save my husband's life. And she told me that I should start compressions, and she asked me to count with her. And then she asked me if I knew staying alive, which I thought was a random question. And I did, and she said, you have to do it to the beat of staying alive, and you have to press really hard. And I said, how hard? And she said, you have to press hard enough that you will probably break his ribs. So I put some oomph into it, and I started pressing as hard as I could. Still wasn't breathing, and what felt like an eternity passed, and then I heard the EMT come in. And before I knew it, there were probably 20 people in my house, and they relieved me, and I was told later that I had been doing it for about 4.5 minutes.
So it's really Courtney's intervention and her ability to talk to my wife to instill her with a degree of confidence that what she was doing in terms of administrating CPR was the correct thing to do. When you're in that kind of high-stress situation, I can imagine my wife's mind racing with 1,000,001 questions. But Courtney was able to handle that conversation in a way that focused in on the essential elements that were necessary to keep that blood flowing until the EMTs could arrive.
So that's what I remember about that day. But I do remember Courtney's voice. I remember her calm and poised and confident and firm. She was firm. Voice, and that was very, in a way, comforting to me. I just needed to have somebody tell me what to do.
And all of a sudden, I wake up, I'm in the hospital, and I see my smiling bride and her brother and sister standing beside me, and I had no idea what had happened. My wife and the doctors then told me that I had died, that I didn't almost die, I was dead. And Courtney and my wife gave me a second chance. And then I add to that list of important elements the EMTs that got there in a timely fashion, and the amazing doctors and nurses at Overlake in the ER that saved my life.
You know, I'm happy to say that he came home about 3 weeks later, and I had my Dave back. He was fragile, he was weak, but his mind was there. He didn't remember much. To this day, it's a trauma we don't share, but that's a blessing for him. And as soon as he got some strength, he asked me to tell him the story, and I told him the story, and he said, we have to reach out to Courtney and to Dr. Sam Bloom.
I wanted to meet that 911 operator. I was given her name and the supervisor, and we reached out and we made an arrangement to actually meet at Bellevue City Hall. So it was a bright sunny day. We had our black lab Sunny with us, and we met, and I got to shake the hand and embrace the woman, Courtney McDaniel, who was absolutely essential in being there for me when I needed her the most, and when my wife needed Courtney too. It was a delightful moment. We were impressed that this young woman had only been on the job for 11 days.
So walked outside, Dave, Jesse, and their dog Sunny walked up to me. We hugged. It was like almost like a family reunion. It was like I'd known them forever. It really brings into perspective how amazing telephone CPR is, how important our job is to be that first responder, how it's a miracle that he's awake, alive, and talking, and that there was somebody there for him along the way.
I'm sitting here today because of Courtney McDaniel and her intervention with my wife in providing the information that she needed to give me that second chance. So now she's part of my life story, and I know that all the 911 operators out there that do this every day, that take all these incoming calls, are so vital for the rest of us. And the kind of service and selflessness that 911 operators live their lives is something that, in my position, I deeply appreciate. So thank you all.